Our communications director has been very integral into some of these outreach opportunities that we've taken up, and we really did want to get the word out, especially in Odessa, because we're Midland Festival Ballet, but we serve both communities.
Yes.
And so we do have this partnership with the Marriott. They've been so great to do this special drinks collaboration with their bar, which I think is really fun.
It is.
And that's been great for our guest performers to come and promote, and they all think it's really fun too. So I love that, and I love that it's reaching a different demographic of people than just our students or people with children.
Good evening and welcome to Art After Dark, where you get to learn all about arts and culture in West Texas, and I get to live out my Dick Cavett fantasy. Welcome, my name is Randy Ham. I am the Executive Director for Odessa Arts, and tonight I have a very special guest, Rachel Ritter from Midland Festival Ballet. Rachel, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I've been wanting to have you on for a while. We go way back, even further. Our organizations go back. But let's start at the beginning with you. Tell me what I like to call your origin story. How did you get involved in ballet, and what led you to being the director of the Midland Festival Ballet?
So I actually grew up dancing in Midland at Midland Festival Ballet. So I danced probably from the time I was 6 all the way through high school. And I left Midland for college. I went to Wellesley College in Boston and worked in higher education fundraising. And then my husband and I ended up back here to be closer to our families. And as timing would have it, my predecessor in this role was actually moving away or moving into a different position. And Susan Clark, the artistic director, found out I was moving back, called me up and said, "Hey, I think I might have an interesting opportunity for you." So it was really very serendipitous. I never thought I would work in the arts. I was very much in the fundraising world, which we still am, but
Sure.
in a very different way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always tell people that nobody knows what an arts administrator is. Everybody just thinks these things happen. These performances just happen. These exhibits just happen. But it takes a lot of behind the scenes work, and arts administration in itself can be very, very rewarding to kind of shepherd an organization and kind of help steer the conversation of arts and culture in a community. Um, what has been the most interesting part of transitioning into that arts administration job?
Well, I have such a long-term love for the arts, visual arts, performing arts, all of it. And I think I grew up in a household where if we were on vacation, we were going to go to whatever museum was available.
Yeah.
And if there was a performance, we would go to it. So this has been part of my life since I can remember. And I do not have the creative skill set to choreograph. I was never going to be a professional dancer, but I love this art form so much. Probably the best part of my job is that I get to facilitate all of the possibilities that are in the people that I work with have these great creative ideas. I get to facilitate that.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, arts administration is very interesting. I think I've done so many different things in this job that I'm like, what would I do with that if I was ever in a different role? Who knows? But I have a lot of random knowledge.
Yeah, yes, there's so much random knowledge and so many random skills that you pick up through the years of doing that. So, how long have you been executive director?
This is my 12th season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which
Congratulations.
rightfully.
It is. It is. This is my 11th year, so you just started a year before I did. Um, but you had never, like, even your education, nothing about your life's journey had ever, um, you had never looked at arts administration as a possibility.
I really hadn't, or at least if I had, it was more on the visual arts side. I did a number of internships at different art galleries when I was in college, and a very short internship with Boston Ballet. So maybe that should have been my clue.
Right?
And I was president of my college dance group. We were a big dance company on campus. So I should have thought that maybe I had an interest in this, but it really never crossed my mind until this kind of popped up.
Right. But you did dance before you went on to college. Did you
Yes.
dance in college?
I did, but just in a very like a student run group,
Sure.
nothing professional.
What was one of your most memorable performances?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I would say probably one of my most memorable performances was actually here in Midland. We did a ballet called Les Sylphides, and I had one of the leading roles in that ballet, and it's a very old, old classical ballet. And one thing I love about ballet is how traditional it is and how the tradition is kind of passed down from generation to generation. So that ballet really resonated with me.
Wow. Uh, of course, we can't talk about Mental Festival Ballet without talking about the Nutcracker, because that is one of the most popular and well attended performances that you do every year. Uh, Talked a little bit about from an administration side. How do you put that entire thing together?
Well, we're already working on 2025. We've been working on 2025 since January, but I think the biggest thing is coordinating all the people. So last year we had 120 student performers, probably 10 or 15 volunteer performers and like the party scene, um, 10 guest artists that were there, and then over 80 volunteers working with either costumes or backstage or doing sets and props. So really putting over 200 people together and making sure that everything is running on a schedule is a big part of what I do, is coordinating people.
Not to mention personalities.
Yes, lots of personalities.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I have to say, my favorite place to be during the performances is backstage.
Yeah.
There's so much energy from the students who are really excited to be there. Maybe it's their first performance, maybe it's their first time on stage, which I think they're always a little bit nervous, but
Sure.
it's awesome energy. And for administration, yeah, that's the biggest part for me, coordinating people, but then I have the fun job, I get to share tickets with local nonprofits, I get to do a lot of things that are very rewarding.
Well, and for any of you out there that have ever been to the Wagner Noel, it looks like a massive complex that would never run out of room. But I can tell you backstage during the Nutcracker, there is not an inch to spare.
There is not. There is not. We actually use, there's a big music rehearsal hall that is in UTPB uses, and so one of those halls is our dressing room for most of the under students, and I think there were over 60 students in there this past Christmas, which is just a lot of people in one space, as you can imagine. It is very tight. We're all very up close and personal, so
Well, one of the things that I've enjoyed seeing the Nutcracker through the years is that because of the different guest artists, especially, that it is never the same performance twice. Like I can go, last year and see a specific performance, and then come back this year, and with the different guest performers that you have, they really make those roles their own. Not just in the choreography, but just in the way that their own body language translates that choreography for the artist. So it's a great way of keeping that tradition very fresh and new every time you go see it. And so I just wanted to let you know that. And other people have told me that as well.
oh, I'm so glad that that comes across because I know it's very important to our artistic director, Susan Clark, that it's not the same every year.
Yes.
And, all of the performers are different. We have some guest artists that return year after year, and that's wonderful. But the students are different, the guest artists are different. And a lot of times she adapts so that everyone can look their best and the performance can look its best.
Well, and it's easy to look at things, from the viewpoint of, you know, keeping it static because it's traditional, or even the performers are like, oh God, I've got to do this thing again. But it is so beloved by the community, and they're so excited about seeing it, that I also hope that the cast, the dancers, and even the symphony musicians can feel that energy from the audience, because you get into that space and everybody is just so excited for the curtain, and there's just that beautiful anticipation of what you're about to see. And nowhere have I seen it as much as I've seen it in front of Nutcracker.
Thank you. I know we do feel that energy backstage. I know all the performers feel it. I hope the musicians feel it too. I've never thought to ask, but I hope they feel it too. And it is. We're very lucky to have live orchestra at
Mhm.
the West Texas Symphony.
Yeah.
It totally changes our performance. It is just a different feeling.
It really is. Uh, but the other great thing about doing the Nutcracker is that allows you and sets you up for success for your spring production, which is where you have a lot more flexibility. So talk to me about how you choose what you're going to do, how far in advance that is, and then we'll talk about what you're doing this spring.
Awesome. Yeah. So it really depends. Sometimes we decide 2 years out. I've known for a couple of years what we're doing next year, for example.
Oh, wow.
And then sometimes, depending on our students and the company, our company is made up of all students, ages I think 12 all the way up to 18 or 19. So depending, what their gifts are and what they're doing and how many of them there are, kind of depends on the production we can do. We can't do a huge full length ballet with tons of corps de ballet if we have a smaller group that year,
Sure.
for example. So I know that's one of the things Susan takes into account. And she also likes to switch. So she really likes to make sure that we are upholding the traditions that I mentioned earlier and performing classic ballets like Giselle, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Les Sylphies, things Swan Lake, things like that that maybe people have heard of and maybe they haven't. But she also wants to have a chance to present new works to the community. So we'll do sometimes, they call it mixed repertoire performances that have multiple shorter works included. And that could be a modern ballet, a very classical ballet, and sometimes we'll run the gamut from all of those things.
Well, tell me what you're doing this spring. In fact, in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, very soon. It kind of snuck up on me, I had to say. It's already here. Um, so we're really excited. The key work that we're performing is a version of the Firebird, and it's choreographed originally by George Skabeen, and that is a very famous classic ballet, and that is going to be paired with three other shorter works. So that's kind of like the mixed rep, like I was mentioning. So that will close the performance. Will be Firebird with the Stravinsky music played live by the West Texas Symphony. And then in the first half, we have a ballet called Grand Tarantella, which is set to music that I think a lot of people will recognize. It's a very memorable tarantella. And that is very classical. Tutus, everyone's in a tutu, everyone's in point shoes, the whole thing.
Lots of pink.
No, there's no pink.
Nope.
No, there's pink tights, but they
Oh,
are wearing the tutus are kind of a teal color. So
wow. Okay.
very classical, and a lot of fun, very high energy. There's tambourines. It's a great opener to the show.
Oh, well, if you need an extra tambourine player, I have a couple of tambourines at home.
I have a parent who was like, "I need to buy some tambourines so we can get the audience, like, excited."
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
That's really cool.
you know, um, and then that will be followed. I'm really thrilled. We have some great guest artists for this show, from Ballet San Antonio, New York City Ballet, and some freelance artists as well. And the second piece on the program will be the Black Swan Pas de Deux, which is very famous pas de deux.
Yeah.
It has some very hard steps, and that is going to be performed by the couple from New York City Ballet. So that's a real thrill to get artists of that caliber here in the Permian Basin. Um, and then the third piece in the first act is going to be The Incredible Pete's, which is actually created by a local choreographer. It's an award-winning piece, and it's a very, very contemporary ballet and has a lot of humor. So that's another thing about mixed rep is you can showcase all aspects of the art form.
That's really exciting. You know, another thing that you've been doing very well is getting the ballet out into the community, and Firebird is a really good example of that. But you did it with Midsummer Night's Dream and a couple of other things. I know that the Ellen Noel Art Museum had Firebird Storytime, to promote that. You've also performed at the Ector County Library. And then talk a little bit about the partnership that you've created with the Marriott Hotel during First Fridays.
Yeah, I really love that. Our communications director has been very integral into some of these like outreach opportunities that we've taken up, and we really did want to get the word out, especially in Odessa, because
Yeah.
we're Midland Festival Ballet, but we serve both communities.
Yes.
And so we do have this partnership with the Marriott. They've been so great to um, do this special drinks collaboration with their bar, which I think is really fun.
It is.
And that's been great for our guest performers to come and promote, and they all think it's really fun too. So I love that, and I love that it's reaching a different demographic of people than just our students, or people with children. So I love that. And then on First Fridays, we've been so lucky to be able to come and perform here in Odessa. And that has been a game changer for us. I think we have heard from people that they've loved it. And I think we've reached people that we haven't in the past.
Right. another kind of barrier to ballet can can be the word traditional makes people think, "Well, oh, that's not for me. That's for other people," or, "Oh, I wouldn't like ballet." But getting the dancers in front of that non-traditional audience in a non-traditional setting, like a hotel lobby or a library or wherever, then they see that and think, "Oh, I actually did enjoy that. I want to see more." So hopefully they come and see fireworks.
Yes, I would really love that. I mean, I think it's been great partnering with the Marriott. That's such a beautiful space. So you get these great photos. We always bring dancers in costume, and then the themed drinks are so fun.
They really are.
That has been a really fun collaboration for us and something we hadn't done in the past. Like you said, tradition is not a word that inspires people to think of like fun.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
and I think my favorite thing is when we get new people at the ballet who say, "This is not what I expected." And I really want people to know that ballet, it is about, beauty and grace and all of those things, but it can also be so humorous. There's ballets that are subversive. There's ballets that are all over the map. So I think there's something for everyone.
I think there is too. Dance just in general is a beautiful expression of the human form, right? And whether that's ballet or modern dance or tap or whatever, to see what a human body can do, and especially with the discipline and the music and the structure of dance, and be able to tell a story with no words and feel, the beauty and feel the heartache and feel the joy and have it celebrated through a human body is just amazing. Uh, Tell me, is there a dream project you haven't been able to do yet that you want to see done here?
Oh my goodness. That's a really hard question.
Okay. I
I
figured you'd have something in your back
something
pocket. You're like,
good.
I know exactly what I want to do.
It's kind of funny. I think I've been really lucky because in 2022, we actually, when we did Aladdin and the Magic Carpet, we created that ballet from scratch. I
Yeah.
think that was a huge dream for our organization was to create a full-length ballet with brand new choreography. The score was created by a woman named Ramona Pansagrau, who is the music director at Kansas City Ballet, and she creates scores for professional companies around the world. So we had our fresh score, our fresh costumes, fresh choreography, and then the partnership with the symphony and putting that on stage was a huge dream of ours.
Yeah.
And then in 2023, when we hosted the Regional Dance America Festival
Oh,
here, I feel like those were two of our organization's big dreams. So now it's time to find a bigger one.
right. Well, that's it. You can only go up, right? Uh, so that Aladdin has never been performed anywhere else exactly like it was performed here. Okay. And that's one of the great things about our cultural industry here is that, we have these opportunities to create something for our community that are never going to be performed anywhere else quite the same way that they are here. And we have such a rich tapestry of artists. You look at putting on one of your productions and it's not just about the dancers, it's about the costumers, it's about the musicians, it's about the set, it's about the musicians playing in the pit. It really does take a village to do the things that you do, and it almost enables every single artistic discipline in some way. You work with visual artists, you work with fabric artists, you work with music, dance, the whole thing. And then, of course, you've had few of them filmed for Basin PBS.
Yes, and that has been a hugely rewarding partnership. Based in PBS, when we were in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, we created a Nutcracker film because we wanted that tradition to continue on.
Yes.
And they helped us air that for free to the whole Permian Basin. And after we did that, the partnership just kind of grew from there, where we are able to air past productions that we've done and share it with the community for free. Um, and it was something we never considered before.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, I think there's always been kind of that false equivalency that if you film something, you put it out on TV or you stream it online, then that will hurt your ticket sales, right? But it doesn't really. What it does is it helps promote ticket sales for the next event, right? So if somebody doesn't come see the Nutcracker in person, but they see it on base and PBS, they may get tickets to Firebird because they were so impressed with what they saw.
Yeah, and we have really found that. We've heard from people who reach out and say, "Oh, I didn't realize either I didn't realize we had a ballet company here," or "I didn't realize that ballet was this fun," or whatever it is that caught their eye. They do come to the next performance, and sometimes people, are flipping through channels and they just happen to stop on it. So
Right.
it's been really wonderful for us, and Basin PBS has been so supportive. Laura's so wonderful.
They're a great organization. I love them so much.
Yeah, they they have really helped us facilitate a lot of growth for our own organization, especially during a difficult time. Um, it was kind of funny after 2020, I feel like we had the most growth that we've ever had.
Right.
Mm.
I think that speaks to how important these communal art experiences are because when they were taken away, people were hungry to return to that. And I think they came back in force because, uh, you know, it's nice that you can watch Nutcracker on base and PVS. But like I said, you sit in that audience and you feel that anticipation and that energy and you realize that the one time that you see this performance, it will not be the same the next night. You won't have the same audience members out there. You won't the dancers won't perform exactly the same way they did before. Maybe somebody trips and it becomes a little laughter moment or uh there have been so many times that I've seen it that one of the littles will like say something out loud or whatever, and it never distracts from the performance. It always enhances it, and that's the magic of live art that you will never get anywhere else.
It's so true. There's nothing like it, honestly. Being a part of it is really special, and being in the audience, I always try to explain to people like this is a once in a lifetime event. Your dancer might perform this 2 more times, but this performance here is a once in a lifetime event. Like you said, anything can happen. And I think to your earlier point, so much goes on behind the scenes to make these performances happen. Administratively for me, but like you said, we have a stage crew who, is moving everything backstage. We have volunteers who are helping the dancers get to their spots. Anything can happen back there, and sometimes it does. And I think something that's fun for all of us behind the scenes that are participating is like we all have these funny stories of what happened and
Sure.
how we made it work.
Yeah.
Uh, so
And those memories can never be taken away. And I think that is a wonderful thing. Well, Rachel, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. If anyone wants tickets to the Firebird, can you give me the dates and where to go for tickets?
absolutely. So the Firebird is happening. It is going to be March 29th, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, March 30th at 2 p.m. They can get tickets at www.midlandfestivalballet.org.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you all for watching tonight. Join us next time for Art After Dark and cheers.